hearing storms down by the shore. Pirates in the port of paradise. Hey, ruined mariners marinated, swinging one north with their heads and fingers sore. Viscera and gore in paradise. Pirates in the bay, taking what they may. Yarn and gold aboard, what decorates indoors. Taking home decor. Please not a word more. It's the Pirates of Paradise. Ah! Ah!
So what?
Thank you, Craig.
Oh, we're going to the podcast.
So my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, we watched the Artour, which is, how would you summarize it, Kellen? What's it about? What is
well,
it?
see, the first thing I would use to describe the film is that I find it entertaining. It's entertaining in the sense that a good comedy should be, and too many comedies, it's not that they're not entertaining, but they're not entertaining even when there's nothing entertaining happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So like the Artour is basically like it's styled as a mockumentary,
mockumentary,
which is a documentary, but like it's like a comedic one or like one that.
Well, it's kind of just like a fake documentary.
Well, yeah, it's a fake documentary, but yeah.
It's fictional.
It's pretty much like.
What was his name? Arturo Domingo.
Yeah, Arturo Domingo. Yeah,
and at least in the beginning of the film, there were sort of comparisons to, or like similar themes to fucking Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yeah. So basically, like, it's like a porn director. The movie's detailing his life, his reception, his late career,
and he makes films in like an artful way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he makes like good films with porn.
And the term auteur refers to like really any director with a singular artistic vision. So somebody like a Quentin Tarantino or a Stanley Kubrick or somebody like that. And so it's fucking hilarious that this dude's just like, he's just out there killing it as a porn director with a singular artistic vision.
The fucking titles are great because it's porn parodies.
Oh, it's all porn parodies. Because that's the other thing I love about that fucking movie. I know it's not what we're talking about today, and so we can probably pick this up another time. But also, Kellen's with us, listener.
Yeah, how you doing?
But
if you didn't know by now,
if you don't know, now you know.
Hold on, has Kellen been on an episode that's like up, like that can be listened to right now?
I think he's on like a 12-minute episode.
Interesting. But one that
see something.
Nice.
But yeah. So that movie's a fun time. Basically, they play around a lot with the idea because it's like an indie movie. They're playing around a lot with the idea that artists and entertainers and filmmakers are very similar in like the skeletal base of what they are as creatives. They're very similar to Kellen's locking me in. He's going to kill me live on the podcast. This is great content. I do this on the regular to other people. Content. This is usually a Tinder.
This is clickbait, but it wouldn't be clickbait.
Yeah, no, but the
which is similar to the way the films are made, in that consider an actual film, but if it just had a live sex scene in it, like if it had porn in it. Oh yeah, could you not market that as just like a film with like one part of it, like one part, and it's incorporated in a serious manner? Like it's not stylized.
Like,
I mean, there are plenty of movies with sex scenes.
There's like a sex scene that's displayed at a high enough resolution that you could also hypothetically get off to. So it's not it's not porn. It's just there's just a very high resolution sex scene. You know what I mean? I mean resolution as far as like detail of action.
Like that.
Well, there are like rom-coms where that's the singular focus of the movie, right?
Well, yeah, but they don't have scenes that graphic. Like that could.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, that exists.
Episode 13. Okay. Sorry, I was just checking.
We are on episode like 22 or some shit right now.
Nice.
And
the one viewer saw me and he was like, "Man, he was bad."
Yeah, our viewer, Craig. No, but yeah. The entire premise of the movie is like that artists like the idea of an artist with a singular vision. They're sort of prostituting themselves in a way not so dissimilar to like porn actors or porn directors or anybody involved in that production, because like showbiz is showbiz and there's very little variation other than in how they secure their markets or like their demographics. But Yeah, I thought that was
I don't think that people actually watch porn parodies. Do people like? Is
it used to be a big thing?
No,
I mean, speaking from experience, there are people that watch it.
Oh no, yeah. But like, is that like trending? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, it's been around for a long time.
No. I'm aware that porn parodies exist and that they're a thing that like people do and have done for a while. But
as far as recently, I don't think as many people watch them.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a movie worthy of being porn parodied recently.
That's
because I know the Marvel ones got a lot of traction.
They're like Star Wars ones.
And there's actually like a really good YouTube channel called, I think, Dick Bush, and it's like it's styled as like a what are any of like the movie reviewers, like, name one? I don't know.
Like Rotten Tomatoes?
No, I mean like the independent
like movie critic, Metacritic.
I mean like YouTube people, but like
IMDb,
YouTube people. Those are all other websites.
Do you count cinemas? Do you count like CinemaSins? Is that sort of thing? I think that's more.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
A comedy thing, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Red Letter Media or that, or like sucks. He styles himself as like a porn critic in that sense, which I think is fucking hilarious. But also the style of critique that they have, like those people in general, it's not usually so in depth as much as it is like commentary rather than like what I would deem as like true reviews.
Exactly. Because I feel like, are you like, oh man, the lighting in the scene, I could have been like 15% more aroused if this scene was just less, or like better lit or something.
Like I very rarely do I ever see a lot of stuff dealing with like the production end of a movie, unless it's very bad.
Like they're like, hey, it's very obvious if they shot this one scene twice, that water bottle moved, or something like that.
Oh yeah, that water bottle moved. Yeah, like exactly. CinemaSins would do.
And like, yeah, but well, I just because do you think like a through and through like pornographic critic would be criticizing? Because I guess the goal of pornography is to like sexually arouse the viewers. So would a pornographic critic critique the film to the extent that it arouses them? You know what I mean? Like so. Would continuity be that big a deal? Or like if continuity takes you out of the situation, I guess it would be a big deal. But otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah. But like, it's I don't know if continuity would matter as much.
Exactly.
But definitely could take you out of it. Unless it was like, I don't know. So I'm trying to think like a Quentin Tarantino movie again, just where like continuity kind of occurs, but not in sequential order, so it's really up to the individual audience member or viewer or something to sort of. I don't know. It's weird how he constructs a movie because it's not a linear progression of the story. It's usually like the end of the movie, a midpoint in the movie, and then just recaps of all the missing gaps, taking you to the actual end.
I'm trying to think. Is that true for like all Quentin Tarantino? Like, well, hold on, because
not all of them, but like Kill Bill.
Oh yeah,
that happened. Actually, no, I'd say every single Quentin Tarantino is not linear.
So, but like
other than like his
the
newest
example
one.
I'm thinking of is Inglourious Basterds specifically. I just don't remember. I remember that story being like not terribly linear. Like not all the like. I suppose you see simultaneous events like non-simultaneously, but. For the most part, I think the story's told in like primarily chronological. And
but I would say again that's an exception because like Reservoir Dogs.
That's just kind of Tarantino's directing style in a way.
Yeah.
The way he uses juxtaposition of different events.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it would be juxtaposition so much as just trying to throw the viewer off as to what's happening in the story.
Well,
so
I don't know that I would even
misdirection, obfuscation. Something like that.
How often was that used in films before Quentin
Tarantino? Considering he's very much a sponge in his directorial style, I would imagine he probably got it from somewhere, but I don't know how.
The thing I was gonna say though is I don't think Tarantino necessarily like obfuscates what's actually going on. More so as he makes like. Simultaneous events he like displays parallel events he displays parallel events sequentially and then like sometimes like sequential events like parallel And then also, I suppose, there's a general messing with like the chronology of. But yeah.
What do you think the purpose that serves is?
I think he's.
I mean, I think in a way it makes the narrative more interesting, at least on a surface level. You know what I mean?
I think he's
because there's more.
I have no idea.
No,
you know, like, have you ever been in an art class and they tell you, like, I remember when I was in like drawing 1 in freshman year, we were drawing like a fingerprint portrait or something like that with like pads of ink, and she was like, if you're trying to get like a real good result, like turn your reference image upside down, because then you'll just be recreating the shapes as opposed to trying to draw a face, right? And so maybe he changes the order of events toward the end of maybe making some information clearer and other information less clear, or like the information he deems to be the most important clear, or something like that. So that way,
I think it might just be an attempt to like overcome the tropes that come with like a pretty standard like narrative progression, where he's trying to say like, I'm not going to, this entire movie, I don't want you to be waiting for the build up to this one event and then like, have that event be underwhelming.
Yeah, just sit back. We're telling a Tarantino story or something like
Like, we're going to start with the worst bit, and then I'm going to make everything else match the energy of that fucking initial thing. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's like having a hook twice.
I think
it's kind of similar to like crime shows where they have where they usually like start with the murder or something.
Yeah, it's having 2 hooks. Like, especially in terms of writing, it's having 2 hooks.
Yeah, I guess if you set the tone at the highest, like
I mean,
maybe not the climax, but like an event that is climactic or something, it does. I didn't even know if it because the benefit is kind of hazy, because that's a pretty individual, like that's down to pretty individual tastes and interpretations. But I don't know. I would say it's beneficial generally speaking.
Yeah, I would agree with that. To the extent that I like Tarantino films and like understand his narratives, I would say it's definitely an effective directorial style.
It's an interesting, like, I just haven't seen as much media that has 2 hooks initially.
Well, you need to watch more fishing documentaries. But Gay Cowboys, let's get into it. Gay Cowboys. You want to do a breakdown?
Of El Topo?
Yeah. Give me a quick rundown, or like a favorite scene, something like that.
So I guess I don't know. I have like so many pages of notes. I just had a legal pad out while I was watching it, and I wrote down everything that I thought was significant. But I'm not going to read that whole thing. But I guess El Topo is a story of, there is a man clad in black, a gunslinger of sorts. He looks like the alchemist from the Holy Mountain a little bit, like with less of a silly hat. He is also played by Jodorowsky, which sells that. He's got a naked 7-year-old boy on the back of his horse. He instructs that 7-year-old boy that he is a man now, and to bury a picture of his mother and his toys. They return to where they came from originally. All the people there have been slaughtered. It was some form of religious settlement, as the gunslinger is devoutly religious at the beginning of the story. Well, I guess throughout the story, actually. He kills the people who originally slew all those people, and finds a woman, leaves the boy with I guess like monks or priests in like the reconquered settlement, and then I don't know. He essentially goes through his own. He goes through a death/rebirth process, essentially, I suppose.
Yeah.
Did you say the 7-year-old boy does that?
No, the dude who drops off the 7-year-old.
Oh shit! I thought you were talking about the 7-year-old boy.
Oh no, well, the 7-year-old boy man does appear. Well, in my notes, he's the 7-year-old man, and that's abbreviated as like 7YOM, but capital M. Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, I mean, Jodorowsky really digs for sort of circle of life.
I really haven't seen much of. I don't even really know who Jodorowsky is.
Then you can pipe the fuck down and listen.
All right, well, actually, you're right. So, and see, that would be an introduction to who's Jodorowsky, John.
Yeah, well, Jodorowsky is what kind of muckluck country is he from?
He's a Chilean art director. I don't know. He's an artsy filmmaker for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how the fuck he broke through into the. Well, I guess this is why he broke through this movie. It's called like, it the movie El Topo is like it's like a psychedelic cowboy movie that the Beatles really liked, and I'm pretty sure it's what broke him into American cinema and it secured a lot of the funding for all of his other movies, and also sparked a lot of interest for the Beatles in filmmaking, and obviously like the Beatles' rise to success. I don't know if I could detail that particularly well, but they blew the fuck up like nobody else, and they're still fucking relevant, even though most of their significant members are not dead or musically active. But still, like their influences. This is why the movie Yellow Submarine exists, basically.
Okay. If I were to, I looked through my notes, and so I guess can I mention a couple motifs that I thought were interesting, and then I'll talk about my favorite part.
All day.
Okay, so one, I thought that the biblical like heading motif, like how it goes from Genesis to Psalms to it goes Genesis, Psalms, and then the Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken, it goes Genesis, Prophets, Psalms, the Apocalypse. I thought that was interesting. I think that there's a lot of common visual imagery across his films, like the flayed lambs and whatnot. Like in the Christ pose, that's a Jodorowsky trademark, and I appreciate his consistency.
Jodorowsky loves. I would describe Jodorowsky's style as in part Piss Christ.
Oh yeah, Piss Christ, dead animals,
really likes
wispy poetry.
He loves the subversion of like Christian imagery and archetypes. He loves that kind of shit.
I don't even know if he's like subverting it. I would hold on. Like, let me talk about I guess actually no. Let's talk about this first.
I wouldn't say subversion and like throwing it all out, but
I would say
it's definitely not like
it's like a neo like
conserving it within the tradition of like reverence and respect in which it's always been sort of handled. Like he doesn't use kid gloves when talking about it.
Oh yeah, I think he's like gutting it for the ideas and the symbols, I suppose. But so I guess the whole like his trial, like El Topo's trials throughout like the seeing specifically the 4 gunmasters in the desert is likely like my favorite sequence, which I guess is just the 4 gunmasters extends from. I think that the 4 gunmasters scene ends. Hold on. It ends.
It's been a while since I watched the movie, and I probably should have recapped it today. Like I should have gone through it again.
The 4 gunmasters thing ends like yeah. Say what you're gonna say.
My details may be a bit vague, or not vague, but like a little foggy. But I like the fact that much of his hero's journey is for the coochie,
or at least I don't know. I think he's definitely like a sexual creation myth sort of dude. Like he's definitely. What am I trying to say? Like if
that's the spark.
Yeah. Like he's. I don't think it'd be accurate to say he's a horny director, but he's definitely a sexual individual. Like that's a large part of his personality. Or at least the art that he makes, which I guess that's definitely a certain aspect of I guess like the creative drive overall. Like one of the main reasons to be good at things is because people want to fuck you if you're good at things, and that has like ripple effects throughout like human history / civilization.
Yeah, and then
did you ever see the like fucking top athlete of all time?
In what?
Of all time.
In what?
He was like a Greek chariot racer.
Well, he probably wasn't shit at shit then.
Yeah, but he got paid like fucking. Look it up. He got paid so much.
Just look up top athlete of all time Greek chariot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
like if you go to the Wikipedia page of the world's richest athletes, it's wild, dude. Like they gave him a bunch of gold or some shit.
Lionel Messi.
Oh, Gaius.
No, that's of 2019.
Did he?
All time.
Was he born in like 104 AD? The Roman charioteer who became one of the most celebrated athletes in ancient history. He is often cited as the highest paid athlete of all time. Okay, so this is probably it. Okay, so a wheat-based approach for comparison yields. Christ,
like there's a chart of the
like 6.4 million in 2019.
It's him and
this
then
is
like
a recently updated Wikipedia article. That's funny. 19 stat Wikipedia. Oh, that's watching the podcast. Oh,
Michael Jordan's like second.
Let's see. But is that just sport earnings or is that net worth? Because like I think Michael Jordan would probably fucking also like I guess the things you buy, right? Like you can't buy shit.
It was sports earnings.
Okay,
like,
okay,
directly.
okay. Because most of the money is not in sports earnings; it's in brand sponsorship.
In basic good purchasing power, Diocles' wealth would have been approximately between $60 million and $160 million. Oof. So that's a rich athlete. Yeah. That is a rich athlete.
For his winnings alone, I suppose.
Yeah. Like that's I guess for like because that's serious
and also
purchasing
considering
power by like just doing like racing chariots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy's basically like a gamer. Like, oh, actually, I wonder if you included that, if there would be people who beat him. Like, if you included like video game professionals or some shit. If there would be people with winnings that
who's the highest earning esports champ?
I don't know. Probably Ninja or some shit, but or just entertainment.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Ooh, Denmark. Let's see.
Okay, so.
Okay. It's a dude from let's see, is this Denmark? Johan Sundstein, like 6.8 million. I don't know if that's okay. The most prize money, but that's also still pretty recent. And again, like that's the other thing, right? Like Shaq still alive, like all these other people still alive. Like their earnings aren't capped because they still have the potential to earn more. Then again, if we're keeping it strictly to winnings and not like lifetime earnings, clearly like any probably even like lower paid athletes today still experience a higher standard of living due to their earnings and due to the growth of sports in culture as a whole.
I don't know. Do you think that's more related to like the general advancement of society? Like, because
for sure.
Way, like, because I probably have better dental health than this dude. You know what I mean? Like,
not in a certain way. Like, just completely. It's,
for example,
this dude is not living that great compared to how we're doing today.
Well, yeah.
I
mean, he lived in like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's what I was going to say. The Gunslinger arc, for listeners, if you haven't seen El Topo, the Gunslinger arc occurs between like the 42-minute mark, just about, essentially between like the 40-minute mark and the hour mark. Like the hour, actually, I would say it probably ends at like or 1 hour and 60 minutes. So it's about so it's about a 40 minute.
Is this a midget movie? I can't remember. Does he have midgets in this movie?
There are some.
I think there is one, right?
There are some.
There's at least like I think there's an armless. Is there like I think there's an armless dude who carries a midget with arms or something.
Without legs, yeah, yes.
Without legs, okay.
Yes. So that's and then there's also a small woman who he marries at some point. Oh, but so basically in the Gunslinger arc, he has to face against the 4 gun masters of the desert. The first one is he's a meditative sort of dude who's become like bullet resistance as. He doesn't focus on victory, but only in like maintain. Like he says, he's focused on like quote achieving like the perfect domain, and he isn't like he barely bleeds when shot by bullets to the extent that he offers them like no psychological resistance or something like that. But I think that Mara, the woman who he runs away with, digs a pit. And they cheat him or something like that, and that's how he wins. But El Topo is frustrated by that. They continue to the second gunmaster who lives with his mother, and that gunmaster is hold on. He made copper.
Oh, I remember that dude.
Yeah, he made copper.
Nimble fingers.
With his hamstrings. Yeah. But then he. I thought it was interesting because he said, like, when I first started trading, I made copper things, and now I make delicate things, and I'm so strong that I can handle them without breaking them. Because when El Topo tries to grasp one of the delicate things, he breaks it immediately. El Topo kills him by placing shards of the mirror that Mara was obsessed with temporarily on the ground so his mother can step on them, right? And then once his mother is injured, he's incapable of operating. And so El Topo kills him. The third gunmaster lives in like a little, like not oasis, but like a little like fenced in area surrounded by a water pit with a bunch of rabbits. And so
that's something I wanted to touch on, because do you think that well, I guess go into it a little bit.
Okay, so essentially
the ecological stuff. Do you think that was like information, like, because like I think this movie would hit well today still, and I think a lot of Jodorowsky's movies would hit well today still.
No, I think if we screened them, it would be hype. Because okay, so hold on, hold on, let me
rip through it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna rip through it. But so basically, the third gunmaster, he's surrounded by all these rabbits. He's got so many white rabbits, and the first thing that you see when El Topo approaches is that there's a dead white rabbit being eaten by a crow or a raven or something. They play music together, and he, like, via his music, El Topo reveals that, like, he's tired of cheating. He feels ashamed of himself. Like, normally people, like the third gun master says, normally people bring each other flowers. You have brought me your life, right? And he presents his gun. His gun is handmade, right? It only fires one bullet at a time. They go to fight, essentially, and El Topo, he says something specifically. Hold on. He says, I'm sorry, give me 1 sec. I think my notes are, give me, okay, he says, before he duels, to decide essentially what's going to happen, he has El Topo shoot two crows like very close to each other, right? And he's like, this one's me, this one's you, right? Like one got shot in the head, one got shot in the heart, right? And then he says, head, heart, switch them, right? I don't know what that means, but it happens. El Topo somehow defeats him and buries him under a mound of all his dead rabbits. Oh, because also the rabbits start dying.
Because they don't. They die
in proximity to El Topo.
Die off.
Yeah.
And I think that is super interesting, because a lot of the that's something that actually happens all the time, especially in South America. There are massive die-offs of fucking birds and fish, and the bodies will just wash up on the shore.
Yeah.
And I'm almost certain that sort of stuff was prevalently being displayed, or at least in local newspapers and shit, people with the doomsday mindset who think this is fruition, they're probably thinking at the time that he's making this movie, that's almost certainly in the zeitgeist.
Oh yeah.
Sort of the Silent Spring, we can't use DDT in our own because it's gonna fucking destroy the world.
And massive animal die-off is a motif in his own films. Remember in The Dance of Reality, he's trying to, when he's a boy, when he's portraying himself as a boy, he's like, I wish I could perform a miracle, right? And then all the fish wash up on the beach, and then people just start killing each other over them.
Yeah.
But
and then when the horse with the water walks in, everybody swarms it for food rather than for
waiting to have it doled out. And then so from there he progresses to the fourth gunmaster. The fourth gunmaster is just like an old man wearing a loincloth and sandals, right? And he claims that the fourth gunmaster doesn't have a gun. He's like, I traded it for a butterfly net, dude. So this butterfly net can they go to square off, right? And El Topo starts to fight him because he's like, you're going to have to fight me with your hands, right? So they start fighting, and El Topo can't touch him, right? And so El Topo tries to cheat and shoot him, but he catches the bullets in the butterfly net. And then El Topo is about to shoot him again. He's like, the next one you shoot is going to go into your heart, right? So he doesn't shoot him again, and then they're kneeling, and they're kneeling, and then he's like, I have nothing. You can't do anything to me. And there's nothing you could take from me. How would you even win? And El Topo's like, I could take your life. And then the fourth gunmaster shoots and kills himself. And so El Topo kind of goes off the deep end, and he says, while he's visually contemplating suicide on a bridge, he says, I am laid low in the dust of death. And that's essentially the end of the arc. That's essentially the end of that whole arc. But I thought it was very interesting. to the extent that I guess El Topo is sort of kind of a Western. Like, I don't know exactly how much it plays on like traditional American Western themes because Jodorowsky's like a Chilean director.
It's a little bit spaghetti Western.
What would you say the genre of the film is?
I don't know if you could put a genre on it in like in American genres. It's because it's indie, it's foreign, but that's not.
Where is it from?
It's from, I believe, Chile.
Chile.
Yeah.
Is that where? Hold on.
Maybe France a little bit.
Let me pull up a Wikipedia.
Oh, because I know that Jodorowsky did not intern, but like he did some work in France, and at the time, like I think Dali was making movies, so that sort of like surrealist
he movement, art.
That sort of surrealist, like independent art film style definitely influences heavily a lot. Jodorowsky does, but
when is this from?
1970.
1970.
Maybe earlier, because I think it might be early to mid 60s even.
I recorded some of the songs for my EP. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you about that?
Oh, 1970. You did tell me.
I did.
How long are these songs? Or I guess how long is your EP going to be? That's a better question.
So it's just like a handful of songs that I've been working on for a long time, that I've been working on to do an EP release. And like, I'm just kind of sick of them, and I want to work on new shit, so I just want to commit them to recording so that I have that.
But how long's the EP?
It's like 4 songs and one kind of funny interlude, but I was going to release a free single beforehand. It's gonna be Pay What You Want.
I think you should release all of them just up front, like free.
I'm gonna do a single first because I don't want to put the EP out.
I'm sorry, I was reading the Wikipedia article. We're gonna have to talk about this.
What happened?
I was just trying to find out when it oh man, I was just trying to find out when it was released. Okay, so apparently, do you remember when they're in the desert and he prays to God, shoots a rock, and water comes out of it, and she can't do it to save her life, Moses, right? And then he like rapes her, and then she could do it.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read the what Jodorowsky said about this scene. Okay, when I went to do the rape scene, I explained to the actress that I was going to hit her and rape her. There was no emotional connection between us because I had to put a clause in all the women's contracts stating they would not make love with the director. We never talked, and we had never talked to each other. I knew nothing about her. We went to the desert with 2 other people, the photographer and a technician, no one else. I said, I'm not going to rehearse. There will be only one take because it will be impossible to repeat. Roll the cameras only when I signal you to. Then I told her, pain does not hurt. Hit me. And she hit me. I said, harder. And she started to hit me really hard. Or very hard enough to break a rib. I ached for a week. After she had hit me long enough and hard enough to tire her, I said, now it's my turn. Roll the cameras.
That is fucking fantastic because it cannot be true terror of somebody being like victimized more than once, really, because after the first time, they know what's coming. They know what to expect. Mm-hmm. So I'm not mad at the way he did that, but it is super fucking weird, and you couldn't make the movie today that way. You could. Jodorowsky really likes to just post flyers like, I'm making a movie for like anybody to come in, because that's like how he sourced all of the actresses and actors for.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it would be so tight to be in a Jodorowsky film.
Yeah, because he just like posts up little papers and he's like, come make a movie.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like working with actors. Oh, that's the other thing. I think George Harrison of the Beatles was supposed to be like the Jesus character in The Holy Mountain.
Interesting.
Because like they had worked together and talked and promoted the movie so much. He wanted to be in the movie, but George Harrison didn't want to have his ass washed on screen. So Jodorowsky's like, fucking, I'm not gonna deal with any fucking resistance. You're a fucking actor. I'm the auteur in this movie. Fucking like, comply with my singular artistic vision or get the fuck off set.
Exactly. Like this, every frame is a painting. Do what I say. Like the brush doesn't argue with me. Like
fucking.
But
was that movie inspired by that? Do you think?
I doubt it. Because that concept is not from Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
Oh, but the what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I'm pretty sure this movie was originally released in Chile because it's a Spanish movie, but I know that it didn't originally appear in Mexican cinema, so I'm pretty confident that it was just released in his home country. But
yeah.
Oh, but Kellen, to answer your question from earlier, I would classify it as it's a more philosophical Western. I guess it's sort of kind of an adventure story to the extent that long distances are traveled and it goes through a hero's journey arc pretty clearly.
Yeah, but it's sort of like magical realism, Colombian magical realism.
I mean, it's
a Colombian magical realism Western, or I guess the Chilean magical
consider the precursor to Western film. It's samurai films, dead ass.
And as far as the philosophical angle that this movie does try and
there's similar themes.
It tries to engage a lot of the cultural mysticism and religious traditions of
cowboy
probably
gothic.
Chile, not gothic at all.
Fucking.
Yeah, not gothic, but it tries to engage with tarot and stuff, which is super big in South America.
Another tarot scene, but that happens with the second gunmaster's mom, or at least she said that she's predicted El Topo's arrival with tarot cards. I should look closer at that scene to see if they're Jodorowsky's tarot, or not. So if they're, because they probably aren't. They're probably his tarot, the one that you can find the whole deck of, not the cool tarot from the Holy Mountain. But
yeah.
This came out in the 70s, you said?
1970.
What other film was there in Chile at that time?
I'm sure they had other movies because you don't get into film or film school. It was probably a lot of foreign film, a lot of French film at the time. But also the location probably did have the influence of a Japan, because Chile's eastern coast of South America. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had that interaction. And it's also post World War II. So the cultural mingling, I'm sure, had occurred by that point. But
okay. So
it doesn't really strike me as Japanese.
Is that what you're gonna say?
It's like he was saying. It's similar in that there are similar themes. It's traveling long distances. It's the barren, and then hospitable. The contrast, especially in terms of the morality is different, but there's a similar feeling with the setting. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Consider the Fistful of Dollars. Have you ever seen that shit?
No, I'm not.
You haven't seen the fucking what's his fucking name?
I'm not particularly well,
but it's been a long time since I've seen that film.
Yeah, no, they did a bunch of Japanese remakes. They remade films. Mm-hmm. They remade Japanese samurai films with just different names, and then turn of the century they got sued.
Also, that just side note, I don't like intellectual property, especially for something as fippy dippy in ownership as movies. I'm not a fan of any sort of hegemonic entity like Disney or something trying to quash the creation of anything new. I definitely prefer the art jazz approach to filmmaking and music and all that shit, because you can't just be we made this and we own these intellectual properties, and you guys use the same chord progression, or you guys use the same film sequences or something, because you can just have the clout of saying we influenced what a movie is. We influence, we're so fucking influential that even people we don't own still conform to our rules of filmmaking, because that's how you have to make a movie to make it successful. And if you deviate from that, you have to you probably still have to convey some sort of common point of access to our fans in order to make a movie profitable.
Well, Clint Eastwood is still alive and making movies.
Yeah.
And he's still rich. So we didn't even suffer from being sued then. And it wasn't, it was earlier than I said. It was fucking. Oh yeah. I don't know when it happened.
I'm on the Wikipedia.
That's I'm still not in favor of it.
Samurai.
Yeah.
And he.
No, yeah, because he didn't suffer.
Apparently
he did.
He did.
His man with no name character was ripped from the idea of the wandering Ronin.
Have you seen the new Clint Eastwood movies though?
Which
have you seen The Mule?
No.
Do you know what The Mule is?
No.
He is a drug mule, and he goes to Mexico and South America and shit. I haven't Mexico. and he comes back, and it's Clint Eastwood, and he's like, however old he is now, he's like in his 80s, and there's 2 threesomes in that movie.
Oh, okay.
He's 80 and making movies with fucking threesomes in them. Like,
the screenplay is based on the New York Times article. That's a funny thing to read.
Yeah, because it was a real dude, apparently. Yeah. I think
the Sinaloa cartel's 90-year-old drug mule. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess
90-year-olds, 90-year-olds, year-old. What the fuck? Oh, is that wax? Oh, no, because you put the candle out.
Interesting.
Yeah. Was that candle burning a bit too long or what?
I just wanted to do.
Oh, you're doing it.
No, before we get too far away, I want to say the thing I want to say about the 4 gun masters.
Please do.
Okay, so I think that obviously, well, I think that to the extent that, okay, so I guess typically in the main character in any given hero's journey is the hero. I guess Jodorowsky, his model of like a person powerful enough to affect the narrative, like a person powerful enough to change the phenomenological environment, or not the phenomenological, the phenomenal environment. I don't know why I put an logical one. Anyway, they're like gunslingers. All of them shoot people with guns, right? And so El Topo, the I guess otherwise nameless gunslinger from the beginning, is powerful to the extent that he's very good at shooting, and he's clearly contrasted from the other people who have guns, like the colonel's dogs. You know what I mean? Like not dogs, but his terrible henchmen, right? And he's righteous to the extent that I think one of the first lines he speaks, well, no, outside of telling the 7-year-old boy that he's a man now, one of the first lines that he speaks is the colonel says, "Who are you to do this to me?" or something like that, and he says like, "I am God," or something. And I thought that was interesting. So obviously he's like a righteous man, and he's like he's to be the story of our hero, but he faces other superiorly righteous men, or not superiorly righteous, but like more powerful. In that the first gunslinger is sort of.
Well, yeah, I think that they're supposed to be superior. Well, it's definitely like Jodorowsky saying this is superior righteousness.
Yeah.
And I'm going to convey that sort of philosophical angle.
Oh yeah, because
by giving them sort of some immutable God-given power or something, like especially the butterfly net dude.
Oh, this
like just saying sort of nihilistic Buddhism is preferable to like. Nihilistic in the sense that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because he's freed himself of all earthly tethers, I suppose, and that's why he's the 4th and greatest gunmaster, because like he is detached enough from the earth to make the concept of a gunfight unwinnable, right? Like I very much
the term like cruel bombs.
Oh yeah, that YouTube video.
Like, well, yeah, that YouTube video, but just the term, right?
Yeah,
I think it is cool how Jodorowsky sort of makes the tangible, the physical, temporal, etc. He gives the bullets like a spiritual connection in that like they can be influenced by the Zen, like they can be caught by a butterfly net because
just because he's free like that. He's free enough that he could do anything.
But in that there are cool bombs, there are like bullets that are acted upon by spiritual forces because like I don't know. Yeah. They're not sort of the like I forget which video it was, but like guns and horses are usually used to convey like power or like like the strength of an individual. Mm-hmm. But he supersedes that by saying like, oh no.
Oh yeah, like, exactly. Because all the other guns, because I think that El Topo is as good as you can be as a man with a gun. Right, yeah, but all the gun masters, like the first one has some form of weird, like meditation-based bullet immunity. The second one has trained to like a superhuman degree of dexterity via his making of like first copper and then delicate objects. The third, the third gun master like is at peace and lives in isolation with animals, and then the fourth has literally zero attachments. And I think that, one, him facing all these different like spiritual guides, and I think it's super interesting because he doesn't feel good as he's progressing through these ranks, because he isn't like, he wants to beat them, but the primary reason that he encounters them is because Mara wants, if she's to be with him, she only wants to be with the best, and he'll only be the best if he can beat all the gunmasters. And
let's talk about gay cowboys then, because
wait, is there any Western parallel to this?
I suppose.
As far
say that again.
Is there any Western parallel to this?
Like, as far as like adhering strictly to the, I suppose it adheres most strictly to the Western genre visually. Like, it's shot like a Western for the most part.
Yeah, in the desert, guns, slingers, cowboys.
Let me think.
Bullshit.
I'm trying to think if there are any like narratives.
But gay cowboys, why? Yeah. What would you sort of describe the significance of that as, like, within the like? Because I mean, certainly at this point, especially in like colleges, film schools, that kind of stuff, you're dealing with like the first wave of like social influence of public institutions, like the original like Berkeley free speech movement and stuff, saying that like everything, like sort of taking like Freudian ideas of like like sexual power dynamics, saying like, I don't know, like something. I don't know exactly what point I'd put on it, but gay cowboys.
Well, I think that, because I guess the general cowboy motif is related to, well, cowboys in the Western environment are like people trying to settle a new chaotic environment, like people trying to form civilization again. And I think that, I don't know, I think that, well, one, I think Jodorowsky likes any setting that excuses him to have like invalids and also dirty people.
Oh, he loves dirty people.
He does love dirty people. So any environment that can excuse the use of dirty people is good. And also, I think maybe he's trying to say something about, well, I think to the extent that he's trying to say something about righteousness, because he probably is, or at least like living properly, if that's not righteousness in the broad strokes, it might be that, yeah, I think that like the cowboy motif, like it, like cowboys settle unfamiliar terrain, like they're the pioneers, I suppose. So, actually, I don't know. I would have to think very heavily about why he chose to use cowboys particularly, because I imagine that whole thing was less done to death by like in 1970.
Oh no, I don't even care about the cowboys. I think that he kind of. I mean, I think that it's replaceable, but I think it makes sense. Yeah. I was talking more about like why.
Oh, why did he make the
cowboy is like replaced by chick cowboy? That one.
Oh, why? Oh, why that? Oh, yeah. Why she leaves him? Oh, because I think that. Well, I think that's probably a play on. Well, one, because that first whole thing is called Genesis, and then it's not Psalms until like it's Psalm. Like Genesis is the gunslinger arc, so I would say that, or I guess the gunslinger arc falls off like under the Genesis subheading. But I would say that that's maybe because that's probably like a play on like an Adam Eve temptation sort of thing. Mayhap. Like she because I guess you can read, I don't like, it's not my favorite reading of Genesis, but you could read Eve as being like, I don't know, like a pseudo-negative temptress. And I like when you read, I've read like Paradise Lost, and in Paradise Lost, once they eat like the fruit of good and evil, and then are like truly aware of their environment, they get sort of like vindictive to each other and whatnot. And so I think that maybe once El Topo reveals like the truth of life to Mara, because there's that whole scene when she's just like catching birds and playing in water, et cetera, she like, and I think that's kind of like an Eden motif. I think that once she is alive, she becomes exposed to sin, and I think that woman, I think the female gunslinger is essentially like an embodiment of sin. Because especially when she when the female woman he said, when the female gunslinger whips Mara in the desert and then kisses her wounds and then they kiss each other, I think that that's kind of like, what is sin but making, or I guess the embodiment of sin, making her think that bad things are good because of immediate pleasure reasons, right? And so I think when she leaves him, I think that's just another individual abandoning the righteous path, to the extent that El Topo's arc is the arc of someone on the righteous path. You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what.
I know. I love the scene. Person's getting whipped in the desert. I love that because it's vindictive. It's fucking fantastic. I don't even know. It's satisfying. Satisfying. I don't remember the exact context of it, but I remember it was like after the betrayal, which made it very, very nice to watch.
Well, actually, I don't know. Wait, when you say the betrayal, do you mean when she leaves? When she leaves.
Cowboy.
Oh, she
OG Gunslinger.
I think that happens before that. I think that happens before. Yeah, because she's still wearing the yellow shirt. I think that happens before the. That might happen before the second Gunmaster. I think that's in between the second and the second and third Gunmasters. Hold on, let me incapacitate screen by for Gunmaster. I don't think that might not be in my notes, but I think that does happen because I remember she's wearing the yellow shirt because you could see the blood through the yellow shirt. And then I also remember she switched to a red shirt because she rips the red shirt open. So when the third Gunmaster dies, he falls into his little pool of water at the center of his settlement, and he dips his hands in the bloody water, like once he's killed him, and then he rubs his bloody hand water all over Mara's breasts, and so she's wearing a red shirt in that scene, and I remember that. So I think it happened sometime between the second and third Gunmasters when they're in the desert. I think. I could be wrong though.
It's all good.
I could.
Yo, Quar.
Yeah.
Quar, what kind of film do you watch? What do you enjoy?
Do
you guys like horror?
I like this sort of film, just in that I like to think real hard. Like the harder I can be thinking, the better.
You're gonna speak.
It's realistic, I think. It seems realistic narrative.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, dude.
There's no element of this movie.
This is
Well, that's actually what I was going to get to. I was going to get to the ending because I thought it was. Kellen, are you okay with spoilers for this film?
You literally did you not just say the entire plot?
No, not the entire.
No, I haven't been through it. That's all. Like we're focusing on. I maybe like 12 pages of notes. We're like on 5 of those pages. I think the Gunslinger arc encompasses 5 of these pages. But so are you okay with end spoilers?
How long is the film?
Are you okay with spoilers, Kellen?
It's 2 hours and 4 minutes long.
It's only 2 hours? It is that much?
Yeah.
Narrative already?
Yeah.
All right.
You did a lot in 2 hours. We watched an hour and we watched like a 79 today and maybe 73. There was a lot of shit in that.
That was paced very well.
And this is also paced very well.
I would say it's a solid flick. Like it's a little fast for note taking. It's a little dense for note taking on the one because I watched this movie earlier today. That's why it's kind of fresh in my memory. But I was just I had it like I said I just had like a legal pad and I was just jotting things down when I thought it was noteworthy. But let me actually count how many pages of notes I have because I probably only have. Okay, I have more like 10. So this arc encompasses like half of my notes, and it's also like 40 minutes of a 2-hour movie. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the thing I was going to say.
I was just going to say, to prevent this from all being summary, are there any just key points you want to focus on?
Oh yeah. So I was going to jump to the ending because we're kind of meandering, and so I was I don't know. I wanted to mention something my thoughts on the ending just because I wanted to see if you had any dissimilar conclusions or anything. Just because I guess it ends with. Long story short, it ends with. The grown-up 7-year-old, the 7-year-old man, the grown-up 7-year-old man, who is now, he dresses like El Topo did in the beginning, like a black gunslinger, right? And he's riding off into the distance with El Topo's lover and freshly born child because El Topo has killed a bunch of cult members, essentially the population of an entire town, and then self-immolated. And I think that's sort of a morally, there's obviously a lead up to that, and he becomes a better person. I think El Topo definitely became, he definitely became a hero to the extent that he became a better person than he was originally. But
yeah, he became ashes.
Yeah, but actually, hold on. Also, I thought it was interesting that he had to like make a fool of himself to beg, to the extent that like the fool is the precursor to the hero. I thought that was neat, but
also the fool is literally a card in the tarot deck.
Yeah.
There's no hero card, but I don't know. I would like Hodorowski. I would like to sit Hodorowski down and use what's the correct term? Enhanced interrogation to get a good, straightforward answer from him about the meaning of his films that isn't fippy dippy.
I don't know.
I think that as much as he talks about, oh, I'm going to overcome the flesh, sat him down and water and electrical wires, he'd get real clear on the details real quick.
I think that's true to a certain extent because, he's all like poeta, right? And so I imagine he plays it close to the chest with a lot of his ideas. But also, just to the extent that, like, as an artist, like, or I guess as, like, even, like, as a, like, yeah, I guess as an artist specifically, like sometimes when I'm like designing something or like this, I was going to say, when I said as an artist, I meant that generally, and then I'm going to tie that to a specific example. Like when I'm designing something, sometimes a corner is sharp, sometimes it's round. There's not a reason for it all the time. Like there are things that inform aspects of my design, but not all the aspects of a design at the end have been purposeful. Like, so maybe 99% of them are, but there's that 1% where you're like, why'd you do this? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. That's just how it ended up. Right. And so I think that
he would still say something is all I'm saying.
No, but I think I think some of his meaning is outside of his control, probably. What did you say, Kellen? Though?
Can I suggest a quick topic change?
For
a closer. Quar, what do you think of bodybuilding?
Wait, bodybuilders?
Like, what do you think of bodybuilding?
I think that, I don't know. Like, I think that the muscular.
Well, that's something that you would want to do.
Oh no, not really. Because I would rather be I would rather have like the highest specific power that I can, like highest possible energy output, smallest possible volume. Or I guess that'd be power density, but smallest possible volume.
Right.
Just because
also think about size though.
Yeah.
Think about size.
Okay, well here's the thing. Corey and I both like some nice fippy dippy clothes. We like that aspect of capitalism in that we get to participate in dressing up, feeling nice. And really once you start getting to like Schwarzenegger custom fitted suits levels, you're not dealing with off the rack clothes. You're dealing with tailoring. And if I have tailor money, I'm all for tailor money. I would love to have something that is bespoke any day of the week, but to say that I can't go to a Goodwill or a H&M or a Target or anything and buy just like a medium t-shirt that hugs my body nicely because I'm all natty, ooh, that's a big trade-off. Also, just the fact that my bones and my joints and shit get way knee replacement.
Sorry,
it's surgery.
I was distracted by how much it's raining. It's really raining.
Just take creatine.
Yeah.
Doesn't
fix your knees.
Do creatine and caffeine pills.
Doesn't fix your knees.
Yeah.
Oh, but Kellen, I think that because my answer is probably kind of similar to John's. Like I said, from an efficiency perspective, I think, I guess it's like mine combined with what John said in that there's definitely a space consideration. Like for me, it's mostly a fitting into things. So like sometimes fitting into clothing, taking up minimal space so I can always get on a bus or a train. And also, I guess there's a slight muscular flexibility consideration just because if my arm had a higher diameter, then it'd be hard. Like I could only bring it, I would only be able to bring it so close to my body, or like I wouldn't be able to bring it as close to my body as I can with my current arm. You know what I mean?
Bible verse about that, like it's easier for a weakling to fit through an eye of the needle than it is for a bodybuilder to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's the quote.
Is that what they say? Actually,
yeah, I believe that's.
Maybe I don't know.
It's just because like he can't get his fat fucking quads or thick fucking sausage hammies through confined spaces, and so it doesn't matter if you can kill 1,000. If you're cornered by 1,001, you can't fit through the little crack in the mountainside. So that's a
that's a proverb for you listeners.
Yeah.
Also, actually, maybe in jiu-jitsu, it'd be harder for people to keep their closed guard around me if I were like twice as much. If they were twice as much me.
There's a lot
but also isn't size supposed to be like a factor? I mean, I know that strength is obvious. Not that strength is unbeatable, but like a big reason why jiu-jitsu is successful is because like it helps mediate the effects of size over like in competition.
Oh yeah. Like if you're like yes, like it like I guess jiu-jitsu I guess if you're a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner, I bet like you could be like 120 and take someone who's 170, just due to like properly applying technique, but that's mostly I guess there's a lot to be said about using your body's levers as efficiently as you can. However, like, for example, when I roll with skinny people can very easily get into my, not very easily because I give them hell, but like they can get into my closed guard because they just like, if they're strong enough to lift my body, then all they got to do is put their knee maximally close to their chest and then slip it in. And then they have a knee inside my closed guard. Like my guard's effectively broken, right? And so it makes things like wedging your limbs in there easier when you're skinny. But also when you're rolling with like big people, like they're dudes who who I wouldn't necessarily be able to like keep closed guard around because once I close my feet around their torso, I'm already at like my maximum extension, And so, I don't know. I think if you bodybuild, like more power to you. Like my mom used to bodybuild a bit back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. Like way back in the day. Yeah. No, my mom has done all the things.
That's fucking fantastic.
When? How old was she?
She was in her 20s, I think. So like 40 years ago.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, like way back in the day. She wasn't like about it, but she, yeah.
I mean, I feel like everybody bodybuilded in like the 80s though, right? Like,
no, I don't
like everybody was, you were either into Fitspo lifestyle or on cocaine with, I don't know how relative the size groups were, but if this is a Venn diagram between hard drugs and weird fippy-dippy exercises, like some jazzercise with Gene Simmons watching like
I was gonna say like leotard aerobics.
Yeah, leotard aerobics. Leotarded aerobics.
I'm upset at that one.
Just
I'm upset. But continue what you were saying.
Just some neoprene knuckleheads dancing around. I don't know. There's probably crossover.
To have functional strength and mass is like, if you can pull that off, it's ideal.
But functional is, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I was gonna say I wouldn't mind being like I think about like the
functional depending on the name.
Wait, say what you're gonna say?
Like what the function is. But
yeah. Because I think about like my body in terms of like how Batman's drawn sometimes. Like so, I think if you're like a real big muscle boy, you're like Frank Miller's Batman because Frank Miller draws Batman like a brick house, like a 7-foot tall, 300-pound monster man. Right. And if I could do that and be like fast, agile, like lift my own body with one arm, et cetera, right, then I would do that. But I don't know. I think that because I like my current body just because I weigh like 198 right now. And I feel like I'm like pretty dense at the moment. And so I probably take like lean dense over like big boy. But if I could be big boy, but also very dense. Like, can you imagine if someone like if they looked like they weighed 300 pounds and they were like, oh, I actually weigh like 550 pounds.
My maximum strength goal is I want to be big enough to make wooden floors squeak if I'm bodybuilding. Like just big enough that if I walk around, like if we're talking about like the concept of like a bridge, like a movie trope wooden bridge suspended by ropes.
Yeah.
I want it to be a question if I will get across it without it breaking.
Quar.
Yeah.
How much do you think I weigh?
Wait, say that again?
How much do you think I weigh?
I think you probably weigh like... hold on. Let me ask you a question, because I'm referring to the last imagery I have of you, which is like 6 weeks ago. Do you still look the same?
What image?
Like, remember when we were? I'm just trying to think about I'm thinking about how, have you made any serious physiological change between 6 weeks ago and right now?
No.
Okay, I probably bet that you weigh I bet you weigh like a 255.
Okay, I was gonna say like a 240.
270.
270?
Okay,
oh shit.
Okay.
I was 280. I might actually be 280 again.
Mm-hmm.
We can check it out right now. The scale's a bit tippy dippy, but
John, you own a scale? I forgot that John owns a scale.
Look at those boots.
I mean,
let's get a real answer, Kellen.
All right,
on you.
Let's see if
Check off the boots because they add weight.
Let's see if I've
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the weigh-in portion of the podcast.
And I haven't been exercising for a while. I've been trying to get back into it, and I have got. So.
Right. Where are you at right now, Quar?
I'm in my.
That's backwards.
Oh yeah. Oh wait.
What?
Wait, I'm in my apartment. Like, do you mean physically?
No, I meant weight. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think I weigh in. Okay, I said 198, but I think at my tournament, they wrote down 198, but I weighed in at 201. So I weigh right around 200 pounds.
Dude.
Okay, so Quar, you're gonna love this.
I've lost weight.
We're looking at 258.9. Now my scale is a bit funky.
I've lost weight. Holy shit!
And so I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna stick 2 pennies on the things that are missing here.
Dude.
Actually, no. I'm just gonna rip this off. Hopefully not work. Shit.
That's I don't feel necessarily better.
I was gonna say you don't look near 300.
Because I used to be. I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's good news. I'm fine the way I look. I'm still trying to lose weight though, just because it's weight that I've had time.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, by weight, you mean recomp.
Yeah.
I've lost surprising. This. Yeah. Because is it one of those situations where you don't do you not feel super different, but you're like, oh wow?
I don't feel different, but I do feel fear.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I went when I recorded the songs today at 11. I went to Houserville. My dad came up and we got coffee and he drove me to this dude's house and then left. And drove the 2 hours back to fucking Harrisburg. Yeah. And I walked home from not even Houserville. It was to Walmart shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, wait, the Benner Pike Walmart or the other one?
I walked across the street and just got on the train tracks and just walked to Lamont. Which is something that I used to do often and don't do as much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the amount of walking you do is pretty substantial.
It's definitely worth walking because number one, it's a good walk, and number two, it's not that bad. It's an hour max.
That's not that bad a walk. That's not that bad a walk.
And it's on train tracks, and there's trees and shit, and there's a whole abandoned train. There's spray paint on the side of it. I hadn't seen it before, but I just could have forgot because it there's no way it could be in service because you go further down the tracks.
I actually think.
Really?
Yeah.
There's fucking big piles of wood in front of the tracks.
Okay.
But it looks overgrown.
Well, you know there used to be a railroad right
I guess
where I am.
I don't really know much about that train.
There's a lot of info. It's not good podcast content, but I will inform you about it later because I was learning about it recently. Actually, that's something we can do before the thing. Yeah.
Oh, because
State College used to be a big railroad town.
Really?
Yeah, big one.
I mean, it's Pennsylvania. I mean,
I think we should kind of
that's close enough to the right that they would have had railroad.
You actually So, anything you want to plug before we dip out of here?
I was gonna say that I've been re-listening to the new Danny Brown album, and I was gonna say I do really like I really like Dirty Laundry and Savage Nomad. I'm working my way through it. Some albums take me a third listen, but I like it.
Savage Nomad is one of my favorite tracks from that album.
Oh yeah, it's a really good track.
It is all about fucking wandering, and I love fucking wandering stories. I love wandering stories. I love long walks. Fucking Not long walks on the beaches, long walks along the side of the highway in the little highway gutter, whatever the fuck that's called. Shoulder, whatever it is.
I still remember the last time I saw you walk from the movie theater. That was a good time.
Like, yeah. No, there's nothing like a long walk through the unknown toward an end.
See, because the thing about you and John is you walk similarly in that you just keep moving. Like if anything gets in your path, you like shift enough that you just keep moving.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it's a predator walk. One of my coworkers says that I talk
you're basically doomed to.
You can't catch this predator fast.
Yeah, and like I'm similar in a way, and walking with you is maybe more similar. Like that's how I walk now. And it's fucking great.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just like pick a path and you go. But do you, Kellen? Do you have anything you want to say before we wrap?
Your fucking
I was gonna ask when you coming out.
You send me the fucking. If you send me a song, I will throw it on here. It won't get any cross promotion, but I want to throw it out.
You actually want?
I mean,
yeah,
you can play it. Yeah.
I'm down.
But also, I just want to plug Run the Jewels 3, which I started reintroducing to my gym playlist, and it's so fucking good. Oh my goodness! Like I forget which track it was. I think it's one of the first few tracks on the album. I think it's right after I don't remember much of the track list names, but it's good. I put a gun to your I put a gun to your bunny like boom or like some shit. Oh my god, say something funny, your bunny go boom. Talk to me. I think.
Okay.
No, Legend has it.
Oh, I like Legend Has It. I was going to say, I thought that's what that was, but I am also not familiar with their discography all like that. That's a pretty good song.
That whole album, pretty fucking banging.
I'll run through that album.
Talk to me to like Stay Gold, those are peak cardio tracks for me.
All right, this is like...
Oh, wait, hold on.
I think this one is all right.
Things I cannot do, that when I was with you felt fine, like taking off my shirt, displaying the marks on my sides, the comfortability gave me, but telling me I was pretty, but I am not. I am so ugly. Days will go so slow.